Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Welcome to this segment of Khoj Gurbani's A Shabad a Day. Our focus today is the fourth Pauri of Jup Pauri, and we will begin first with a rendition in English, followed by some of the thoughts that we can share around it. So the Pauri, rendered in English, goes as follows. The true master, true the law, speaks the language of unbounded love. Constant is our begging and supplication. Unremitting is your dispensation. What can we offer to get a glimpse of your domain? What can we say to win your love? During that death-defying time, cultivate intuitive self-knowledge and receive the robe of honor. The door to freedom is then seen. Says Nanak, this is the way, explained for all. Recognize the truth within. So our ongoing discourse on the Japji has kind of showed us that there is a relationship with the Creator and its hukam, here mentioned as the eternal law, Nai, Sach Nai, continues in this Pauri. And note that for all intents and purposes, the Creator, Sacha Sahib, and its law, hukam, are inseparable. From the outset through the end of Pauri 3, Guru Babaji has repeatedly emphasized the ineffability of hukam. That is to say, our inability to describe it or to conceptualize it. So therefore, our response to it cannot rest on external practices and external speech. Indeed, these only seem to aggravate the problem rather than solving it. In this Pauri, very significantly, Guruji gives us the first indication on how to communicate with the truth and its law, hukam. First, he establishes the fact that the language of communication that we need is unbounded love. So clearly, this is not a reference to the ordinary day-to-day language or speech with which I am communicating with you. This also suggests that Ikonkar is a dynamic process that calls for our active participation in it because love demands a giving. And Guruji then is asking the very significant question, if love demands giving, then what can we offer or give up so that we can see that darbar? Phir ke agge rakhiye, jit disse darbar. Now notice here that darbar is commonly translated as a shrine, and it does have Persian origins, but the meaning, the root meaning of darbar is a threshold. So the darbar is not a physical place, but a threshold of the consciousness. And the second part of the question asks, what can we say? What manner of speech can we adopt to establish a loving relationship? Since unbounded love, we've been told, is the mode of communication. Moho ke bolan boliye, jit sun tare pyar. Tare means establish. So if we look at these questions, which make eminent sense, we have to admit, what possible offering can a created entity or a slave here, because the relationship being reflected is that of a sahib, so a master-slave relationship. So what can a created entity, a bounded entity, a slave, place before its creator? Because this has already been established. We own nothing. We are like beggars. Aakh hai manga hai, de daat kare daatar. So what he's hinting at here is that the transactional practice of making offerings and chanting to please a deity was and remains very prevalent. If we see it all around us and we do it ourselves. Now, the response that Guruji gives to this question that he's raised is very significant indeed. And it is, Amrit Vela Sachanao Vadiyai Vichar, Karmi Ave Kapda Nadri Mohtwar. Literally translated, in that death-defying time, cultivate and realize intuitive knowledge of your essential self. Wear the robe of divine qualities and reach the threshold of freedom. Here, two terms that have been introduced, namely Amrit Vela and Kapda, require just a little clarification. First, Amrit Vela. It is a much used and much misunderstood term. We commonly think of it as clock time, associated with the third watch of the night, Tisre Pehra Subah ke, the pre-dawn hours between 3 and 6. And the popular belief that we live with is that this stretch of time, this 3-hour stretch of time, is especially auspicious for practicing spiritual discipline. Now, in the context of Gurbani, however, Amrit Vela translates into death-defying time, Amrit, where there is no death. So the logical conclusion that one can draw is that Amrit Vela is the moment in time when we are conscious, that is, our lifespan. So our lifespan could also be seen as an opportunity to defy death, that is, to overcome the fear of death. In either case, Amrit Vela points to our lifespan as the moment, the Vela, the opportunity to know one's essence through the medium of love. And fastening Amrit Vela to clock time opens us up to many contradictions that we do not have the time to get into here. But suffice to say that Amrit Vela should not be viewed as specific clock time. Similarly, the word Kapda, which literally means cloth, and Kapda has been used in Indian philosophical thought as a way of denoting the body, the physical body. And perhaps this is the reason that many of our translations have used the same meaning of Kapda as a body. But Kapda should be viewed in a different context from Gurbani, which really is a robe of honor that we've spoken about. And I bring you a line from Gurbani on page 150, which says, Sift Salah Kapda Paya. So the idea of wearing a robe of honor is not a physical robe, but the robe of divine qualities, another way of saying to acquire divine qualities. So the conclusion is very significant here that Babaji reaches at. He's saying, Nanak eva janiye, sab ape sachya. This is the way that has been explained for all. And I think the reference here also is to the previous 3 pauris. This is the way, as has been explained. So to be satyara again is to recognize and realize the hukum within, sab ape satya. So Guru Babaji in the first 3 pauris had stressed the importance of recognizing that the great force, hukum, that creates and operates the universe also resides in us. Hukum is indeed the current of life, and self-knowledge teaches us how to cooperate with it rather than to resist it, how to participate with it. So it is fundamental that we understand the workings of hukum. And the workings of hukum come through self-knowledge, intuitive knowledge, which in Gurbani has another appellation, and it's called Naam. And this realization is what empowers us. So when we engage with Gurbani, as we should, little by little, you will observe that a gradual melting of the density of your physical being, your haume, you will realize that you are slowly melting into your true essence, which is not physical. but the self, the unbounded self in you, which is resplendent as hukum. So this is a transformation that will astonish you and transport you into vismad, the rapture of being alive. With that, Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.